Hi everyone, it's Norman Kochnick here on Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. As you can see by the hat and the shirt, we're well into it here. We've got now one of many matches, in fact 3 ODIs, one-day internationals, between Pakistan and Australia to be held in Lahore. Originally played, I think Rawalpindi was meant to be getting them, but they're now in Lahore, followed by a T20 international, which will also be in Lahore. So we've got some matches spread out over the next week. A very different Australian side. Some are saying depleted. Still, they're playing for Australia. There's no such thing as depleted when you're playing for Australia. You're at your top of your game, as you would hope. And against the Pakistan side that has Fakhar Zaman as an inclusion, which I think is a great inclusion. He's a great player. And certainly the likes of Babar Azam batting probably higher in the order, may well be first drop. And we're looking at already a probable side as Australia are going to be very, very, very different in their makeup, which is neither here nor there. They're still going to win the match. They're still going to play just under an hour before the match plays. Lahore, as always, will be great. The batting side of I think Shadab Khan, the all-rounder, is not included at this point. I think there's some doubt that he'll be playing. Awais Sharif, 2 COVID cases in Australia, so that's correct. Ashton Agar is out. He was certainly, well, obviously Mitchell Marsh was also another. And Josh English is another player that's unfortunately keeps missing out on his opportunity to play for his country, which I think that he's going to be a future keeper of note for Australia, to be honest with you. Josh English, watch out for that name. In fact, some say he's got a better keeping potential than Alex Carey, but wait and see. I'm going to be joined by Mohsin Khan very shortly. And we're actually going to be premiering a new female from a lady from Pakistan who may be joining us as well. So I don't think this is now Mohsin Khan joining us. How are you?
Hey Norman, how are you? Hi to your audience as well.
I kind of missed the games already between Australia and Pakistan. I'm so glad we've got something to look forward to now.
I know. It is amazing how that much awaited series actually got us going, because there was nothing happening between Australia and Pakistan, and all of a sudden the interest has increased, and grilling test matches have increased a bit of a viewership, and a bit of an old rivalry between the two nations has started to build up a little bit. So I'm enjoying it.
Absolutely. Munchie's here. He's saying hi from England. He's got up in the morning. In fact, what is it? Barely 9 a.m. there.
It's nice and fresh.
It's got LW is hi from Sweden. That's interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah. Hi to you from Swedish territory. Hope you're enjoying the weather.
So, Munchie, are we going to talk about England later? Maybe we should get you on to talk about England, or the lack of England, so to speak.
I think it's We'll touch base it quickly, but I think we've got much awaited one-day series with the two nations who have not played a lot of one-day cricket lately.
All right. Now, the Australian and Pakistan, let's call them possible or probable sides. Obviously, Agar's down, Inglis is down, Mitch Marsh is down, Steve Smith is down. You made a comment on your social media about Matthew Renshaw being brought into the squad, which is great.
Absolutely, and we touched base previously as well how Matthew plays for Toombul as well, and I've had close association with Matthew since he was playing under 17s and 19s. So I've been watching his progress quite closely, and I'm a student of his dad, who's a skill acquisition teacher here at University of Queensland, Ian Renshaw, well known in Cricket Australia and cricketing world. So when I was doing my masters, I still bounce some ideas when I'm doing any study or I want to look at some of the performance measures and whatnot. So he's a great mentor for me as well. And Ian, Matt has been performing really well over the last year and a half with both white ball and red ball, but predominantly with white ball. He's had a really good big bash with the Adelaide Strikers, and with Queensland cricket, he's had another good year. So a well-deserved spot, and And remember, we spoke about that younger boys that we want Australia to carry forward now, instead of carrying just some of the older or some of the tried and tested guys like Trevor Head and whatnot. I think this is a really positive move for Cricket Australia to bring Renshaw in into the fold back in playing against Pakistan. He'll be available for the 1 day, 2 and 3 and the 2020.
It's interesting. Some of the Australian selections, by default, they're still there. I mean, for example, well, Swepson's not likely to play, but he's still there. Labuschagne's still there, and even Travis Head. I don't necessarily think they're the first choice players, but anyway, Matthew Wade, I see is playing for Lucknow in the IPL. I didn't even know he got a contract. I thought he didn't get a contract.
11 years. After 11 years, this is his first game that he played last night. So he's been one of the guys been rejected quite a lot for IPL reigns, but after having a good World Cup, he was in demand. He didn't get picked in first round, but he got picked in the reserve selections. But coming back to your point about the middle order or the top order, where Marnus and Head still in, you got to remember that you're missing Maxwell. You're missing because Maxwell has been granted leave due to his wedding and whatnot.
Yeah.
Then you're also missing likes of Mitch Marsh. He's injured, so Cam Green comes in for him. Then you're also missing some of the younger guys in the top order and in our bowling attack as well. So all the quicks have been granted leave because they've been playing quite a lot of cricket. So then they'll have a bit of a leave before they go and join IPL. So I think the Australians are experimenting, try and test some of the guys to see how they can go with the Cricket World Cup, 1 Day World Cup as well, because it's around the corner. And currently Australia is sitting 6th and Pakistan sitting 10th. So it becomes we spoke about Test cricket, how crucial it was, and in terms of the rankings and whatnot. This will become really crucial, because if Australia wins this series, Pakistan more likely to go through a qualification, which means...
Well, I don't think Pakistan are going to let that happen. And
no.
if you look at the bowling lineup of Australia now, they put a possible team together. Aaron Finch and Ben McDermott are likely to open. There's no Dave Warner, of course, so there's no Steve Smith. So Labuschagne would go at 3, which I'm struggling with. I really am. He's not a one-day player. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. Travis Head, not been in good form. Marcus Stoinis, certainly worthy of being there. I'm surprised he's not already playing IPL, actually, because he was picked to play before the auction. Cameron Green, I applaud that selection. I think that's a good one. Alex Carey, well, I mean, Josh Inglis is not there. Then you get to the bowlers. This is where I really struggle. They're saying Sean Abbott, Ben Dalhus, Zampa, and Nathan Ellis. Now, really, out of those 4, only Adam Zampa's the one of any real note. Even Berendorf should be put in that place. It's a very poor. It's not the best bowling lineup, is it?
Not the best bowling attack. I think the key that we're missing in this top order, if you go from the batting side of things, you're missing Warner, Smith. I thought Uzi would get a run ahead of Travis Head, because Uzi's 1 day numbers are still really good. His white ball numbers in domestic are real good as well. But they've gone against Uzi being trying. Ben McDermott has had a really good season with Big Bash, scored 100 and a couple of 90s. I think he's a future. You've got to keep persisting with him. Marnus and Heads, I'm not sure that they'll be in their long-term picture, because obviously you get your Smith, Warner come back, and also you'll have your all-rounder Maxwell come back. So I think those 3 spots will be filled up quickly, and then also Mitch Marsh coming in. So your 4 spots here out of the top 6 will be filled up with the guys who are not available. Then if you look at bowling side of things, Sean Abbott, Ben Docius, and Zampa. I think Zampa picks himself as a sole spinner, which makes sense. But Ben Docius, last couple of years, 2020 numbers, fantastic. He has not. The important thing is he has not played many games for New South Wales in white ball cricket, in 1 day games. He's had injury before the start of season this year, so that's why he missed first half of the the 2020 league as well. So you know, his numbers over the last 2 years have been good, but this particular season hasn't played enough cricket. So it's an interesting choice ahead of Behrendorff. I think Behrendorff was my first choice. And then when you look at Sean Abbott, I think Sean Abbott has been there and thereabouts. He was in the draft squad for Ashes as well, so he was. He's unlucky that he didn't play a Test match against touring England in the Ashes. He has performed really well. He played the A games. So I think Ben, I support that selection behind anyone else. And Nathan Ellis is another one. He's a New South Welshman. He didn't get a contract.
Yeah, he played over in West Indies in the like
he played,
Bangladesh.
yeah, true.
Just quickly, a couple of comments. Rohan Kohli says, world number 6 ranked ODI team Pakistan versus an Australian C team. Yeah, well, that's probably a fair way to think. Fraser Hill is defending Labuschagne, saying he's got 2 ODI century. He thinks he averages 40, which is decent. Yeah, we'll wait to see about that. No matter what, it's great weather, which is great. Himanshu Rahela wants us to, Norman, talk about Ben McDermott as an opener. Well, look, at his best form, he's sensational. He's got some incredible centuries playing the Big Bash in Australia. Played okay for Australia, but he hasn't really gone with it yet. This may be his time, but he must be a bit fresh because he hasn't been in Pakistan. So Australia is the 5th time World Cup champions. Yeah, so that's true. It is a fair point. But I do think this Pakistan side looks good, don't you? I mean, Fakhar Zaman, Imam Al-Haq, Babar Azam, Rizwan. It's good seeing.
I think so. I think if you look at the comment as your audience have made as well, that yes, Australian is really under strength in this, but you cannot rule out Australia. Even under strength, Australia is still one of the good teams. They're really competitive. They only need a couple of players to perform, and all of a sudden they're up there. Whereas on paper, of course, Pakistan team does look strong. They have got Imam ul Haq, Fakhar Zaman, Babar Azam, Abdullah Shafiq, and Rizwan. So that's a really solid top 5. And if you look at
they're in sensational form, really, aren't they?
They're in good form.
4 of them have scored centuries in the Test series. Just quickly, Mitch Marsh has definitely had a hip flexor injury. Won't be playing for the ODI series, and I like to play the T20 as well.
They reckon he might be available.
And Cameron Green's playing.
And Cameron Green's playing, so he might be available, but I don't see him playing because he'll be well rested because of longevity as well, playing IPL and then going to Sri Lanka. I think they'll rest him. They'll be happy to give Green a longer run, which I'm happy about. I'm not too fussed about Green getting a run over Mitch Marsh because I think he's a really good perspective.
Australia shouldn't take Pakistan lightly. Sorry, Pakistan shouldn't take Australia lightly. You're right, but I think there's too much going on that should make Pakistan win this.
That's right.
And McDermott and Fitz both weak against spin.
Yeah.
That's true. They have a bit of a problem. So it'll be interesting. Look, really, a lot hinges on Stoinis and Finch being the captain. The rest of the batting line is not exactly ODI specialists.
No.
And Cameron Green's first match.
Comment on Finch as well. Finch hasn't had a great season, domestic season either. So he scored 150 in the Big Bash, and then he played a couple of Shield games, and then he's put his boot up for red ball cricket. So he's retired from red ball cricket. So Finch hasn't had a good season as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a blinder from someone else, but. You'd like to see Finch. Obviously, Finch got picked up in IPL as well for one of the franchises as well. So I think there's a lot of things that you'd like Australian team to do well to win. But I think Pakistan bowling attack with Hassan Ali, Afridi, and Haris Rauf, and with most likely they'll go with Fahim Ashraf, and whether they go with Asif Afridi or whether they go with Usman Kabir. I still like to see Usman play instead of Asif. A left-arm spinner. He's 35-year-old. He's played his trade for a long time in domestic cricket. Whereas I like to see Usman play this game, Usman Kabir, at home ground. I think you got to play a youngster over there, a 35-year-old left-arm spinner. So that's my pick.
And look at Pakistan. Harris Ralph coming in with Shaheen. They're going to be dynamite. Harris Ralph's got a lot of energy to prove because he wanted to play the test matches. No Stark, no Hazelwood, no Cummins.
Cummins.
I'm a little bit annoyed by that. Really. I mean, it almost is Cummins now going to become a test specialist. What do we? I mean, he's playing the obviously the IPL, and it's Hazelwood. Stark's not. So why, if Stark's not playing the IPL, why wouldn't he play the rest of the series?
I think Stark, I could give an excuse. He's played 5 test matches. He's played all the cricket since the summer started. So I would give Stark a bit of a lead. That's granted. That's given. But if you look at Hazelwood and Cummins, I would probably keep them on tour and mix and match and play 1 or 2 one-days, because Australia is number 6 on the ladder. They could slide down quickly out of the top 8, and they might have to play a qualifier. So, you've got to be taking these one-day games quite seriously. And Australia did not take 2020 games seriously last year, and they haven't played their full strength in one day in last 6 one-days as well. So, and it's not to criticize. I know you want to give your players a bit of a rest and everything, but you've got to play the one-day games, because now with the qualification and every game becomes critical. So I think I'm a little bit disappointed that Australia haven't got their full strength. And even if Berendorf doesn't...
Yeah, I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that at all. I don't like it. Look, just a question here. Subhash Chandra Birathra said that Shaheen Shah Afridi has been rested today. I haven't heard. There's nothing written. If that is the case, Subhash, tell us where you heard that, because I'd like to know your reference. So who wins the toss? Well, hopefully Pakistan wins the toss and bats first. You're both looking great. Oh, thank you. I don't know what you're talking about. Who's batting? We don't know yet. We've got another some 14 minutes before the toss. So MD Wazim Jr. and Zahid Mahmood debuts. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'd be good. And Mohammad Wasim Jr. is a good inclusion in the squad as well. And I don't mind Zahid Mahmood. But I'd still like to see Usman play. And if Shaheen is rested, I would still like to see a pace bowler replacing him, because Afridi's been playing non-stop as well. So I mean, if he gets one of the games as an off day, I don't mind that, because he's played the PSL all the way through. Then he played the test matches, and obviously we've got a busy summer coming up for Pakistan. Oh, sorry, not summer. Pakistan season coming up with a lot of test matches this season. So giving him one game off, I don't mind it, but you still like to take these games serious as much as possible. And I would like to see Pakistan going to try and win these 3-0, because that will help them climb up the ladder a little bit, because they're currently sitting at 10 out of top 8, missing out on direct qualification for the World Cup, which I think, as a Pakistani supporter, you would say that is quite it's not what Pakistani supporters would be looking forward to. So they have to try and win all the games. I'd say they have to try and win all 3 games rather than just taking it easy, because they can't.
So Pakistan last beat Australia in 2002. After that, they've never won the series against them at home or away. Well, it's always the first time Safik Bakari. You know that better than anyone. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, with the IPL, of course, that's starting. That's well and truly in train. Very unusual results there. But this is the premier event. This is an international event between Australia and Pakistan. We should take it very seriously. After England are being bundled out of their test series against the West Indies, I mean, there are some bizarre games going on. Netherlands and New Zealand. Netherlands actually scored 202, which is commendable, and New Zealand were 3 for 204 in their ODI, which neither here nor there. Malaysia and Papua New Guinea. I like seeing teams like that. Malaysia's got a lot of potential. So does Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
But and of course, 2 of the, I think, number 9 and number 10 in the IPL, Sunrisers Hyderabad versus Rajasthan Royals. I think they're going to be 9 and 10. That's my prediction at this early stage. And they're playing in Pune rather than Mumbai. Okay, back to this game here.
Yep.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm predicting Pakistan will win.
Yeah,
you would.
Yeah, we probably think and probably agree both that Pakistan should win. There's no reason Pakistan should not win, because they've got a stronger batting lineup. They've got a stronger bowling lineup at home. with a bit of crowd support as well. I think Pakistan's probably starting favourite. But a quick stat to you and your Babar Azam lovers or haters. Last 6 one-day series that Babar's have played, he scored 100 in each of the series. He's scored 100 against South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, England twice. So he's scored runs against the top nations. So I'd like to see Babar again being a key as he was in Test series.
Really, Pakistan would be. I don't know. I don't think it's about having a lot to prove, but they must be quite motivated because they've gone very close to the Test series. I could well have won the Test series had things gone their way. Harris Ralph will be chomping at the bit. He'll be foaming. He'll bowl exceptionally well, and the spinning quartets that they've got in the Pakistani group. But I'm particularly keen on seeing Rizwan, Babar Azam, Imam Al Haq. I didn't know Shafiq was. I thought Shafiq would not have been a first choice ODI player, but is he more aggressive?
He is very aggressive. He plays 2020 for Lahore Qalandar. He batted in different spots. He batted at 3, batted at 5, and he opened the batting as well with Fakhr. So he's a very flexible one-day player. His one-day records are really good as well as his T20 numbers. And especially in recently concluded 2020, his numbers are really good. He's a very, as you can see, he's very technically correct batsman. And once listening to Mohammad Yusuf, he was saying, if you're technically correct, no matter what format you're playing, you can really adapt and you can really make your game adjust to the conditions as well. So I like the inclusion of Shafiq in that 11 because he's proved himself how good his technique was against good reverse swing, quick bowling, and his numbers again in the PSL were really good. So I like his inclusion. I like to see Usman play today. You and I both know him quite well. He's the younger talent over Zaid Mahmood. Zaid has played a lot of cricket. I mean, I know he hasn't had enough run in international cricket. He's an older guy, but I still like to back a youngster because we can see him growing with age. And he's played his under-19s and 17s with both Babar growing up, so they know each other really well. And I'll be disappointed if Usman doesn't get a run.
Okay, the first innings target, I think, will be around 320.
Interesting. It could be, it could be high scoring game. Well, I
think it will be a high scoring game.
Yes, the thing would be difficult under lights. It's just the lights in Lahore are lower than you would probably notice. They're not if you see SCG where lights are quite high, and if the high ball goes up, you visibly.
Okay, there is a confirmation here. Zahid Mahmood and Muhammad Wasim Jr. are going to Cebu.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Then Muhammad Wasim Jr. is another good perspective. He's a youngster. I like his approach as an all-rounder. So I think it's not a bad choice. But Zahid Mahmood, congratulations to him to making his debut. He'll get his cap handed over before the toss and whatnot. So it's an interesting choice. Left arm spinner over a leg spinner. I've been harping about getting a leg spinner involved in Test cricket as well, and Pakistan missed the trick there as well. They had 2 finger spinners, and they've gone again with one. The other exclusion that Pakistan will miss is Shadab Khan, and he is still recovering from injury. I'm not sure he will be available for 2020, but that's another inclusion that I would have liked to see. He's really handy with the bat. He's handy with the ball. He's the best fielder that Pakistan have. He played for us in the Sydney Sixers this year as well. He's a fantastic athlete, excellent cricketer. Unfortunately, he's going to miss due to injury. I don't know how far he's off from his injury, but he would have been.
Nathan Ellis and Mitchell Swepson have been presented their ODI caps.
There you go.
Mitch Swepson's being selected. That's a rocket. Look, the question that we haven't really answered. Okay, so we've got debutants, as I said, in Zahid Mahmood and Muhammad Wasim Jr. Nathan Ellis, well, he did play T20, didn't he? And Mitchell Swepson, well, that's a bit of a shock. I don't know whether I would have picked. Does that mean Zampa's not playing?
I think they would have gone with 2 spinners. I wouldn't think Zampa would be dropped. I think they'll go with 2 spinners then.
So what are you saying? Are you saying that both Swepson and Zampa will both play?
I think so. I think.
Well, that'll be interesting. Two leg spinners. When was the last time Australia had two leg spinners in the side?
Well, exactly right. I would be very surprised if Australia playing with two wrist spinners. They could have kept Nathan Lyon back and played him in the one days. He's played one days as well. So, yeah.
Okay. The question I have to ask, I'm going to stop you right there, and what's coming up on all the commentary. Why would you have Khawaja not be picked over and above? In terms of form, the man has scored a truckload of centuries, knows these pitches really well, and has quite a decent ODI career under his belt. Why wouldn't you play him?
Exactly right, 100%.
I'm quite shocked, really. Okay, yeah, that's another thing. Dew will play a part in this game. It certainly will.
Certainly will, because this time of the year they're going from winter to heading towards summer. The day has been really hot. It's been high 30s. Someone probably said it's high 30s. I think it was upwards towards 36 to 38 degrees. So really hot days in the afternoon, and lights come on. There'll be a little bit of dew as well. So I think second inning batting would be a second inning bowling would be a challenge as well. The ball will come on nicely. The chase has been done well in Lahore. Teams winning in the 2020 league. The teams chasing been really well presented. Team batting first have scored big, but they have it's hard to defend when you're bowling in the second half of the day. So I think the team, the toss probably would not matter in this scenario, because obviously Test match you win the toss and you bat. But I think the toss would not matter. The runs can be chased here. In Lahore.
I'm going to be very intrigued with the Zampa gets to go with Frepson. This is going to be intriguing to me.
It's going to be very interesting. I like to see the final 11, because normally, as you know, in Australia we have tradition of announcing the 11 a day before or early in the morning, but we haven't announced the 11 until the day or just before the toss. So I'd like to see what the playing 11 is. They haven't updated it yet, so I'd like to see if both Swepson and Zamps are playing, because that would be quite a long time. Because
I tell you what, I mean, I've got obviously more conviction with Zampa, but having them both bowl to a left hand like Imam Al-Haq, they'll carve it. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Okay, my opinion on this match, they say, Khan's asking. It's going to still be a very interesting match. There's so many unknowns here, but Pakistan should bloody well smash Australia. Really, the hurt through losing. I mean, really. I mean, they probably need to maybe get Chris Rock to tell a few people off here and give a few punches from. That was a hilarious moment. Okay, let's look here.
I think toss is a couple of minutes away, so it'd be interesting to see.
Well, the toss is not very far away. But at this point, we've got Zahid Mahmood and Muhammad Wasim Jr. starting for Pakistan, and Mitchell Swepson. I didn't expect that. He actually wasn't selected in the squad. He was not in the squad.
He was there. He was last minute.
Nathan Ellis.
Ellis, I don't mind. He's got good variety of deliveries. He's slow ball. He bowls into low 130s, high early 140s. His quick ball is good. His bumper is really good. But the skill that he's actually mastered over the last couple of years is his Yorker. His death bowling is phenomenal. He bowls really good death bowling in 2020. His Yorkers are really good. His change-ups are really good. So I don't mind Ellis getting a run, given all the Yorkers are not available. Because
just Sebastian said that about Abbott, Berendorf, Zampa, Swepson, Green. Well, that can't be right because Nathan Ellis has got his cap. So one of those bowlers will be left out.
Yeah,
I would. You could see. I like to see Berendorf play, but I'm not sure whether they're going to play him. He should play. He's a very good bowler, excellent bowler. Abbott, I prefer to lose Abbott, to be honest with you. Green's in there as well, so it'll be interesting to see what they do.
I think Ellis over Abbott today, probably not a bad shout. But I would have liked to see Berendorf play over Dorcius. I like Dorcius. He's got good skills. He can hit a big ball as well. So if they opt him as a lower hitter and a bowler, then I can live with that.
But see, Sebastian reckons Khawaja is a long-term option. He just scored 4 centuries in the last so many Test matches.
Nearly
The
six.
man's in incredible form. I don't care if he plays for 2 years. He's the best player in the country.
You got to play players who are really good in form. And an interesting stat I shared with you in the last couple of days about Marnus as well. Since Marnus has had a number 1 ranking in Test cricket, his average is 26.
This toss must be about to happen, guys. It must be about to happen.
Yeah. So that's my
look,
point.
Safik Bakaria talked about Michael Vaughan. Michael Vaughan's just he's a shit stirrer, let's be honest.
Well,
Pakistan needs to win this. What about the innings of luck? There was a lot of great performances. Lucknow and Gujarat was some interesting performances, I must say. But we're waiting here now on this decision here. This is very close. We close focus on Pakistan. Good. I like that. Pakistan.
Yep.
Okay, what have we got here? Australia will win the series 2-1. My predicted for the Test. Try to go to win 1-0. You did too. Tabashir Bahati, you've been spying lately. You've been outdoing me, yes. Toss balls decide a lot. If Pakistan win the toss, they're going to have to bat.
I reckon they'll bat. They're on to score 320, 350 because they'll try and utilize the under strength Australian pace and spin bowling stock. So I think Pakistan will bat. Australia wouldn't mind either way.
Okay, not yet. I'm not getting information yet. Awa Sharif, now you're in Brisbane. You live very close to where Mosen. I'm maybe not doing a post game. We'll just do that, but maybe because of the IPL, I might be around still.
Yeah, we'll have a look. We'll probably
Zampa and Swepson played together in India in 2020. Did they in 2020? They were didn't play. Did he debut then? I'm not sure.
That's right. That was 2020. They played a couple of years ago.
Okay. Pakistan have won the toss and will bowl first.
Yeah, well, that's what my...
Okay, I didn't think that would be the case. And we've got the Australian team as well. Aaron Finch, Travis Head, Ben McDermott, Labuschagne Stoinis, Cat Green, Carey, Sean Abbott, Ellis, Zampa, Swepson. So...
I told you they're 2 spinners. Interesting
side. But Pakistan have won the toss and elected to bowl first. Now,
3 bowlers in Green. Abbott,
what do you reckon to that? I don't know.
So you got 3 bowlers in Green, Abbott, and Ellis. You got Stoinis will play as a few. He bowled few overs. He wouldn't bowl his 10. And then you got Zampa and Swepson. So you got 6 bowlers covered here with 2 all-rounders and.
That's not a strong bowling lineup for Australia. I'm sorry.
It's not by any distance, but yeah,
it's really not strong, and it's a huge risk to go Zampa and Swepson in together. Zampa not a risk because he's one of the best.
He's one of the best
short format bowlers in the world. But I don't know what's going on there with that. Okay, go back to the toss. Pakistan won the toss and will bowl first. What do you think of that? Seriously, is it a good decision or bad decision?
No, it's not a bad decision. As I said, in recently concluded PSL, if you followed those games, there was about 85% games won chasing. So Pakistan, in general, in one-day cricket, Pakistan like chasing because they know what the target is, and they know they try and keep the Aussie batting. If they get a few early wickets, they keep Australia 250, 280. I think they'll back themselves to.
Okay, Pakistan's team.
Mm-hmm.
Baba Azam captain, Fakhar Zaman, Imam Al-Haq, Mohammad Rizwan, Saud Shakil.
Interesting choice.
Iftikhar Ahmed, Kushdil Shah, Hassan Ali, Muhammad Wasim Jr., Haris Rauf, and Zahid Mahmood. So it was right about Shaheen Afridi not playing.
No, Afridi's rested. But one thing I'd like to say, they've gone too many all-rounders and they've stacked up the lower middle order with a lot of hitters in Iftikhar, Kushdil Shah, and Saud Shakil. So there are 3 guys. They're all have had a good 2020 season, but they're not really your one-day players. I would have liked to see Abdullah Shafiq play instead of Iftikhar Ahmed. Iftikhar he's been tried and tested. He played the first test in Rawalpindi as well. I had my reservations. He's been giving enough run, but he hasn't proved himself. But in terms of bowling attack, Pakistan, Hassan Ali, Wasim, Haris Rauf, and Zahid Mahmood, it's very inexperienced bowling attack as well. Both Zahid and Wasim have not played much cricket. Hassan Ali and Haris Rauf are the only 2 standouts, and then you have some all-rounders to make up the extra overs. But they
Okay,
haven't
can you tell me a bit about this Kushdil Shah and Saad Shakil?
Yeah, Kushdil Shah has been playing 2020 for Pakistan. He's played a few games for Pakistan as well. He's a late middle order batter. He comes in and goes hard. He's good for your 2020 cricket or your finishing overs. But for a longer run, if Pakistan have a collapse at the top, he's not the one who's going to last or bat 15 overs for you. So similar for South Shakil as well. So look, I have my reservation. I would have gone with a proper batsman in Shafiq and a proper spinner in Usman Khadir.
Well, Shafiq didn't get picked. See, this is the question. Pakistan have been smart enough to know that Shafiq batted fantastically for the Test match. Batted rather slowly. Okay, and Labuschagne, I'm afraid, is in the same class. Really, and we know Kawaj can score quickly in a short. Oh, they made a mistake there. He really is on the nose with somebody. I don't know what's going on there. He's actually too nice a person. I don't think he stands up for himself enough. Really, he should be. Oh, Jesus.
No, I think it'd be interesting because if the bowling attack gets under pump, and someone gets going like Stoinis or even Finch gets going, even with that bowling attack, you can see Marnus can bat long as well. So if one of those guys get going, Ben McDermott get going, Australia can go score 320 and it would be hard chase because Pakistan have got a lot of hitters in their batting lineup. I don't think they've got the balance right. And looking at the team, I don't think they got their bowling balance right either. So you don't have a standout spinner. You don't have all-out pace. You're relying on one or two quicks to get the runs going. With bite ball cricket, the ball doesn't move as much. It's very flat pitches as we've seen in Test cricket, and in PSL, it's going to be hard defending those small boundaries. They're only 60, 65-meter boundaries, so half a hit is a six. So it's. I think it'd be interesting to see if Australia can take points in this first game. I think they'll be hard to beat the series.
Good evening to Paul Newman. Dabashir Mahani's talking about Kawaj not being included, but he should be. Bangladesh, England from Test cricket, bad English from Test cricket. That's not a bad idea. Why Pakistan's scared? They're not scared. Look, this is
at this point in time, sitting at number 10 on one-day ranking and looking down the barrel where you are looking to qualify for World Cup. I think Pakistan should not be scared. They should be playing all hands out. They haven't got any left-arm spinner or a wrist spinner to play. They haven't got an all-out pace. They could have gone with an extra pace and a spinner here and proper batters instead of your the whackers or your hitters. I think Pakistan wants to try and take the game with the guys who can hit big ball, but they haven't proven themselves. Both Kushdil and Iftikhar, they've been given an extended run in 2020 cricket, and Kushdil has played one day as well, and so is Iftikhar. They haven't impressed me or a lot of viewers. So I think if Pakistan win this, they're getting out of jail, I suppose.
Yeah, it's interesting. You've got the cap ceremonies of all the players. We just got sent a whole bucket load of photographs. So I've got so interesting. It's a celebration. We know that whenever you see players get, their caps, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of whether they're really ready to play. I don't know. I'm a little bit perplexed by all this. To me, to have both Swepson and Sampa, it's going to be interesting because it could be
I think it's not a bad move. I would have liked to see a finger spinner. I think Heads will bowl some of the spin bowling as well. And off spinner, when Matt Renshaw comes in to the fore.
Oh, he's great.
He's good with off spin as well. Because Pakistan have got lefties in top order. You got your Fakhar Zaman, you got Imamul Haq, the two left-handers at the top. If you got someone finger spinner who can take the ball away from them, rather than Fakhar Zaman loves the ball coming into him, so he would be lining up both Sampa and Swepson because he loves going that left-handed slog sweep and he off the hip as well. So he's really good with the ball coming into him. but you got to take the ball away from him. And that's what I was thinking. If there was no spinner and even Agar getting late minute COVID, I think that's hampered his chances to cement his one-day spot. I would have kept Nathan Lyon in the squad and played him, but I'm surprised at why they didn't keep any finger spinner, whereas they've gone with 2 wrist spinners against the left-handers. It'd be interesting.
Just quite cheekily here, they're making comments about they asked the question of Aaron Finch, who was in the last ODI side. He didn't know.
Mm.
He was captain of that side, and he didn't know who was in his side.
Mm.
It's somewhat amusing, but it's
it sums up how Australia have not given their first strength team a run, and I think that's to me, as we discussed earlier, it's disappointing that you got to play your ace one-day team, and you got to do less experiment. So it's interesting. Batting wise, I don't mind Australia. Their batting would be good. How good their bowling would be in subcontinent conditions, I think it would be interesting. So the game wouldn't be far off. I think it's like 15, 17 minutes to go. But
didn't Ellis get a hat trick on his first match? Was that wrong?
I think he did in West Indies. I think he did.
That was T20 format, that wasn't it?
I think, yeah.
Well, that's a pretty damn good. I'm pretty sure it was something crazy he did.
Yes.
But yeah, look, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. If you look at this team, and if someone asked me to pick an ODI, our best 11, I would only pick Aaron Finch, Stoinis, and Zampa out of that 11.
Probably Carey as well.
Who?
Alex Carey as a keeper.
No, Josh Inglis would probably get a go over it.
Yeah, I want to play Inglis. I know there's a lot of talk about Inglis being the first choice white ball cricketer. I don't mind, and I don't mind McDermott being tested at the top order, because I think if Finch in near future hangs up, I think you got to keep some youngsters giving a go, and that's why I don't mind Renshaw getting the run as well. I think that's 1 or 2 spots you always keep open for your future players, but you don't want to have too many spots open here. All of a sudden, we've got no Finch, no Warner, no Smith, no.
Okay. When you say future players, if they're playing for Australia, they're no longer future players. They're playing now. I get your logic. I know what you're saying, but Khawaja is the best current batter in the Australian lineup. In those conditions, he's proven it. Mm-hmm. He should be in the side. Why he should have lost too many players, haven't they? They lost a lot. Agar, Marsh.
Yeah, as soon as Smith got injured, that Khawaja would have been my first choice. To get him in, he's in form, he's scoring runs, nearly scored 600. He should have been in there, batting at top or opening the batting. He's to me, he's my first choice. No brainer. You got to pick players on form. The guys who are performing, regardless of people say he's 30, he's in mid-30s, 34, 35, regardless of that. The guy is scoring runs. He scored 496 runs at 60-plus average. How can you not pick him if there's a spot available? So for me, it's no-brainer at all that you pick Uzi for a one-day spot, especially when Smith was injured. Smith got injured, you pick Khawaja straight away.
Okay, let's go back to the Pakistan team for a moment. It's a very batting healthy side, isn't it? It's extremely strong batting wise, but it does have the Haris Rauf, Hassan Ali factor. I think I'm predicting Haris Rauf to have a big match because he was so keen. Okay, this Pauline has got a good point here. Usman Khadir is another one that if there's 2 leg spinners playing for Australia, Wade and Swepson, why wouldn't you play if there's such a wicket friendly Usman Khadir? You know him as well as I. He is such a Shane Warne-esque type bowler. He can do incredible things.
He's aggressive spinner. He's a wicket taker. He's really in his own background. When you see opposition playing with 2 spinners, specialist spinners, and yet we have no specialist spinner. That is what my disappointment was. You've gone with the all-rounders like, South Shaquille, he bowls some left-arm spins, bats left hand. Then you got Iftikhar Ahmed, he bowls some off spins, and he's a hitter as well. And then you've gone with Khushdil Shah. So three guys you've stacked up to bowl your 10 overs, and in that you've missed out playing a proper spinner, where Australia have gone with two. So I think they've missed the trick there. Hassan Ali and Haris Rauf being in there, but Hassan Ali's form is questionable. He's come back from injury. He has not done well. So
No,
in
but he
2020
might spark up now.
he might spark up. But
Quickly, Amlan Bara, why are you talking about Harare Cricket Ground in Zimbabwe? What do you? Oh, no. All right. And yes, Himanshu Rahul has expected me to mention Jason Sangha, and yes, I'll mention him again. He should be somewhere in these squads.
He should be.
Okay.
With the white ball form again, you look at, if you really want to try people in the middle when you've got no stocks available, why not Sangha? Sangha scoring runs in Shield cricket. He scored runs with white ball in Big Bash as well. We touched base so much, and we both agree that he's your future. You got to get him sooner rather than later. So yeah,
Jason Sangha better be picked for the Sri Lankan tour, or I'm going to be very cranky. Very cranky.
I agree.
And go back to Renshaw for a minute. Renshaw should be in the test calculations as well.
I agree.
Along with Curtis, the three batsmen who should, excuse me, come into consideration for Australia in the future are Curtis Patterson, Jason Sangha, and Matthew Renshaw. And they look, Madison's still floating around there too, but the other three really should be in the mix sooner rather than later.
I agree 100%. I think that's a really good mix. You've got to keep these guys touring with the team, especially getting experience in subcontinent, because that's where Australia have struggled most. Take the trio with you to Sri Lanka, give them game time, take them to India, give them experience, and then take them to England as well. You've got to keep these guys who are scoring runs, who are in form, and got to get rid of guys who are just one-off and not consistent, like Travis Head. You've got to keep these guys
Awais Sharif, who lives in Brisbane. Why are we talking about James Faulkner? You goose, what are you talking about? And no, Dayash Mahani, stop belting Jason Sangha. You wait, mark my words. He'll be in there before too long.
I see your point. In his early days, he wasn't consistent enough. I'm just saying, Jason Sangha, this year alone, his form has been fantastic. He has been earmarked for a long time as a leader as well. If you look at his under-19s, 17s days, he's always captain Australia and New South Wales. He's been captain of 18s as well. Now he's been captaining New South Wales, and he's been captaining Thunder as well. So, look, he's a long-term investment for you. He's still in his early days, but I think this is the right time for him to get in a team, because his form is currently really going well.
Yes. Okay. Now, all right. I'm just trying to pull up some other information here for this match. It is a long time since Pakistan have beaten Australia in this format. It is true. But for heaven's sake, they have more stability in their squad. They put new two new debutants, yes, but I think they've got more stability in their squad. I think there's a lot more potential that they can work with there, and I would say that we have to see Pakistan win this. Australia have got too many. I mean, what do you reckon? What's done it? Why have they picked two leg spinners, Australia? Have you ever seen that before?
I think it's more or less force inclusion, because you would, if you have fit Agar, he would pick himself automatically. So you would have your finger spinner in left arm, and you have your Swepson play. I think this is just a forced sort of a choice, because Swepson was there with the test squad, and all of a sudden Agar got tested positive, so they had to make an emergency sort of choice. And I think that's the only justification I see. Swepson's playing as a a makeup spinner, because even in the long term, you'd go Ashnagar as your first choice spinner if you want to play two spinners in white ball cricket, even if it's a T20 or a one dayer. You would play these two as your first choice spinners. But good on him. He's getting an opportunity if he proves himself as a white ball cricketer. Good on him.
Or on the Spanish economy.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we have had some significant. Ash Nagar would have been in the side. Okay. Josh English, I believe, would have been in the side, even if it was just as a batter. Labuschagne wouldn't have been in the side if Steve Smith was in the squad. Then you got Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins, my God, Mitch Marsh, Glenn Maxwell, huge numbers of players that are, but the good side is for Cam Green. He has an opportunity to show his wares. What's the score so I can defend here, Norman? So Australia batting first, correct?
Yep.
I'm going to predict they get to 52-60.
I think 280 will defend easily. 280 is a big ask to chase, with Pakistan are known for having a collapses in the middle as well. So I think Australia would like to score in excess of 300. But if they get anywhere between 280 to 300, I think they'll be backing themselves to defend it, because you got to remember that the Australian fielders will throw themselves out in the field. They'll probably save 20 runs in the field as well. So that's, you got to keep that as a factor, regardless of if the second strength Australian team or the first strength. They're the better fielding side anyway, regardless of what you say. So Australia, I think I'll back if they score anything close to 300 or just above. I think they'll back themselves to defend it. Whereas Pakistan would like to keep them anywhere between 260 to 280, because the more runs they get on board, I think Pakistan will panic, and that's known fact, and that shows in their team selection as well. They're known for panicking when they're chasing, and that's why they've picked 3 hitters in the lower middle order batting who can hit big balls. So they can hit sixes. So that's why they've gone with those 3 hitters in the lower middle order, to extend their batting, compromise on an additional spinner. So more all rounders. So it's going to be hard for them to contain Australia below 300.
So okay, Paul Newman's asking what's the score so they can defend. They're going to be pushing it to defend anything under anything 260 and below. They won't defend.
It'd be hard.
They're going to need a 280, but then they still won't win this. That's my thoughts. I really can't see it happening. I don't know. I just find this, it's going to be interesting. Pakistan should bloody well win this. They really should.
Well, they've won the toss, and they've made a choice to chase runs. And so, as I said, they've stacked up their batting. They're backing themselves up to chase anything 300. So that's why they've compromised on a bowler. They've stacked up the batting. They've stacked up with the hitters as well. So they're backing themselves for anything. If Australia pulls 300, 320, they want to win, because and they better win because they've got 7 batters with 8 batters including the all-rounders. So they better win because they've stacked up with hitters. And they're backing themselves up to go hard. If they need like 100 of 10 overs, they can still go hard. But I don't think it's right.
So Pakistan are going to bowl, correct? It's 38 bloody degrees.
Exactly.
Why did they do that to themselves? Exactly. They should have been bowling second. Exactly. I don't know.
And Australia have not had experience of playing in Lahore for the last 20 odd years. Remember that. They have not played. You've played. Our guys, or Pakistan guys, have played on this ground a month ago with PSL. All of these guys. There's one leg in Karachi, one leg in Lahore. So everyone has played in Lahore. They know where and how to bowl on those pitches. So in the extreme heat, wouldn't you get Australia in the field, get them exhausted, get them tired? They're not used to this weather. Pakistani boys are. So you would put them in a field under extreme heat, get them exhausted and tired in that 3.5 hour, because twilight fielding is hard as well. So sun setting at about 6-ish. That twilight in Lahore, you've seen in the Test cricket, when the sun is setting, that twilight fielding is hard as well, because it's hard to spot the ball. Lights are a little lower as well, so you got to be accommodating all of that. I don't know what the think tank was thinking just purely because the chasing has been easier in PSL doesn't mean you don't allow the opposition in the consideration whether the opposition would be comfortable batting or fielding or not.
Yeah.
So,
What would you have done, honestly? What would you have done if you won the toss?
I would have batted. I would have honestly gone
Yeah.
in and batted first, scored 320, and backed myself to bowl well. And because the Australians would be exhausted, 38-degree heat. Australia hasn't seen that heat in long time in their recent tours, and a lot of the other guys who are touring first time to subcontinent, they haven't experienced that heat either. So I would have exhausted Australia and scored 300 runs, and that's again. It's gone with a bit of a defensive approach, I think. But let's see. I hope I'm proven wrong.
Yeah, look, I'm just having some fun. I'm just putting some comments here because we have a spam on there. Okay, look, we're only 5 minutes away from the game starting. We've had to be very honest, we've had a great audience this evening. We've had people have been really onto this. It's really appreciate you all coming, guys. This is, the Australian-Pakistan series has been so exciting, even though it was a dour set of tests. We know now this is going to be a bit more moving and shaking. I think this will be a great 3 matches. It's a pity they're not playing more T20s. And a pity Australia are feeling a better side. And Australia don't deserve to win this because this is really, they've had forced injuries, forced departures, but I just don't think this is a fair Australian side. Pakistan have got enough of their good players in that side to summarily smack Australia. Baba Azam needs to take charge. Hopefully Harris Ralph is capable of 5 wickets here. He'd be in such a mood, won't he? He'll be in such a mood.
And then it will be crucial. Death bowling will become really important. How well the team respond in those last overs and keeping it will be really interesting. So Haris Rauf, we all know that he's good in death. Ellis, we know he's good in death. Sean Abbott bowls death for us in New South Wales, and he bowls death for Sydney Sixers as well. So they're good death bowlers. New ball attack. Both Finch will go hard, McDermott will go hard, so as Fakhar Zaman will go hard as well at the top. But then, if you lose those attacking players up the top, Pakistan have stacked up the hitters in the lower middle order as well. So I like to see some fireworks. I like to see some high-scoring game and high-scoring chase.
I just saw Travis Head with his pads on, and there's potential that he's going in at 3. So Finch has got his pads on.
Yep.
Travis Head's got his pads on. Labuschagne's got his pads on. So Ben McDermott is not opening.
So Marnus could go and open as well. So he's done that.
Ben McDermott is not opening. He had no pads on.
He could go at 6 because he could be your finisher. And you could go with Marnus and Heads up the top. Heads have opened in domestic one-day cricket as well, so as Marnus. So both of them are capable of opening. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go with Finch and Head and then Marnus at 3, or Finch and Marnus and Head at 3. It doesn't matter.
But if Harris Ralph bowls to potential, he'll get Labuschagne and Head real quick.
I think so, and that's where they will miss Shaheen Afridi. Someone from different angle coming in. And
if you're going to select Ben McDermott, he should be opening.
He should be opening. I agree. He should have been giving the long run because both Heads and Marnus are not in my long-term one-day team anyway. Whereas McDermott in a long term, I would invest in McDermott rather than investing in Marnus and Heads. So different approach, different choices. So interesting. So anthems are.
Shaheen Afridi's all dressed up. He could have played. I'm not sure what's going on there.
No, I think they've just rested him. He's had a full non-stop playing season over the summer, and I wouldn't mind giving him a rest. You don't want your ace bowler to break down before any of the other series coming up, and also with the Test series coming up, and then World Cup this year. You want to keep his legs fresh as possible. He's your premium bowler anyway, so I don't mind it. It's the opportunity for the others to stand up. I'd like to see Mohammad Wasim do well. His name's been circulated quite a lot in domestic series in last 1 year, last 10 to 12 months, he's been really been mentioned. I think it looks like Head's going to open and Marnus is going to go.
So Finch and Head are opening.
Yeah.
They're saying McDermott's first drop, Labour's saying second drop.
McDermott will go one drop.
I didn't see any pads on McDermott, so I don't know what's
Marnus
going on there.
3. Yeah, I think Marnus will go 3, McDermott 4, Stoinis 5, and then Green 6. I think that's a good top.
I mean, Marcus Stoinis and Green, they're pretty good stuff there in the middle order. I'll give them that. They're pretty good
but
combinations.
I think both of them will be fluid in their batting stocks. If Australia lose early wickets, you don't want Stoinis in too early. Similar to when Maxi's playing, you don't want Maxi coming in too early. So what they will probably do is they can boost up Alex Carey to go up higher than Stoinis, because Carey has opened for his state and one-day team as well. So Carey, Green, and Stoinis could be fluid as well. So in their approach, but
Rizwan's batting at 4. Sold, and then Kush still batting after. I like Rizwan going in early. I really do, because they could. You look, a good ODI side or a good T20 side only need to be 2 or 3 down at the end of the innings. They do not need to bat any further. If they're good enough a side, they should take hold early. And I applaud Rizwan going in at 4. He's a premier bat, let's be honest.
And you want your best batters to go up early to take control of the game. And that's what Rizwan has been good in last year with
Travis. Okay. Trevor's Head ahead of Khawaja. What? He's had an absolutely atrocious test series. He's played very badly, and he's been elevated to open the innings.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense. He's look, they're showing his numbers. He's played 43 matches with 110 50s, averaging 34. He's not your one-day player. He's not your.
He's got an average of 34, which is average.
That's right. Yeah,
100.
143 games, and
how is he a better selection than Khawaja?
No,
can you explain it to me?
No, I've just had no words for it. And as I said, you got to pick the players who are in best form. And current form, Uzi gets picked ahead of even Steve Smith. He gets picked. He's my first pick on the team list because of his current form, because how he's conducting himself, and obviously on these pitches. He's just scored nearly 500 runs on these pitches. So, it's no brainer for me that he gets picked.
And the crowds, I'm a little bit disappointed with the crowd, because I thought there should be more people. I know it's day night, and maybe you'll get busier later, but where are these people coming out of this game?
38 degrees. I'd like to see more crowd turn up in the later half when Pakistan bats as well, and when the weather gets a little bit kinder. It's 38 degrees now, which is 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is really hot. In Pakistan with dry conditions, 38 degree feels like 40s, mid 40s. So it's really hot out there, and that's what it didn't make sense to me why Pakistan won the toss and chose to bowl first. It's that hot. It's this hot. It's dry. Why wouldn't you put Australia in and exhaust them in sun for 3.5 hours?
Look, if they blast Australia around and get them out cheaply, then we won't worry about it. Okay.
Well, you look at the pitch. Yeah, they're showing the pitch. If you look at that, it doesn't look like the pitch that they're going to blast them out. It's really dry.
The worst player in the Australian batting lineup for this series, has been Travis Head. Yet he's batting as opener in the one-day. I'm sorry. There's something bizarre going on here. I would have put Ben McDermott in for sure. Maybe because they're lacking Mitch Marsh. Maybe. But Travis Head is not. You open the batting with your gun batsman in any format, whether it's T20, ODI, or Test. One of your best batsmen. Not someone who hasn't scored a bloody run.
No. Or someone you want to invest time in. So, it's important that you invest in the right person. I don't think Travis Head is the right investment at this point in time. He's just a makeup that you have, that you're showing the world that you've got no one else better than Travis Head, which is wrong, because you could have easily gone with Uzi.
We're insulting a hell of a lot of players in Australia, I'm afraid.
I agree. I think the selectors have got to stand up and answer those questions, because they have to. You can't take the one-day games lightly. You're sitting 6th on the table, and you could be missing out and qualify for the World Cup. It's not ideal for both teams. You are not in
Well,
the
Stark's definitely not there for the series, nor was Hazelwood. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
It just, and why? I mean, another question. I mean, is Harris Ralph better with an old ball? Should he?
He's much better. He's much better with the older ball. I think that's why they've gone with Hassan. He swung the ball both in and out to Finch. The ball number 3 nearly blasted his pad off, and number 4 he just took the ball away from him. But he's better off bringing the ball back into Finch, and I think Finch will use his feet to charge him and try and take a bit of a control of the innings, which he just did. So I think that's what Finch will try and do, upset his length. And line. But I'll still stick to bowling in, try and blast.
You see what Aaron Finch did? Aaron Finch danced down the wicket and let the ball go.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what he will do. He'll try and attack, come out at the bowler, because the pitch is dry, the bounce is true earlier on, and you can afford to do that. And Hassan Ali is only bowling in mid 130s anyway, so he's not bowling fast. So I think you can afford to do that. But Finch is batting outside his crease anyway. He's standing a good 6 to 12 inches outside his crease. So by the time his trigger movement is done, he's well outside his line. So
Samana Washi's joined us. He's a regular for this time slot.
Hey,
Pakistan chose to bat second because the dew would come around at 8 p.m. tonight. It's a fair call, but like with a weakened Australian side, they could have done some serious damage by batting first and put heaps of pressure on the Australian batters. Whereas now,
let alone heat will dry Australians. He will drain Australians out. Imagine you going in and watching the game in the grandstand with 38 degrees. You'll be absolutely exhausted by the end of the.
Have a look at this batting lineup, please. Let me read it out. Aaron Finch, Travis Head, Ben McDermott, Marnus Labuschagne as an ODI team. What the hell?
No. This is the guy that I want to see because the Pakistani, a lot of people that I've spoken to in Pakistan, they are really talking about this guy.
Mohammed Wasim Jr. He's only 20 years of age.
He's young and he's a strong lad. They're talking about him quite a lot as a future all-rounder. He can hit the big ball as well, but he hasn't proven himself. So obviously his first game, be nervous, some butterflies. But it'd be interesting to see how he goes.
He's about 137 clicks. It's not, when you look at him, he doesn't look that young.
No, he's from the northern side, where the lads are quite stronger. But I'd like to see him do well because he's the one they've been talking quite a lot about.
So is Mohammed Wasim Senior? Did he play Test cricket?
He played Test cricket, yes.
Right.
Yeah. He was a batter, top order batting.
Let's come off the pad. That wasn't. Travis Head looks all at sea, if you ask me.
Yeah, and he would be nervous.
If you're planning for the long-term future of Australia, why have you got Travis Head opening the batting? Wouldn't you be putting Ben McDermott there because he's supposed to be in that position?
Well, Travis Head would be my team anyway. If you're looking long-term, looking World Cup 2023 for one-day World Cup. I wouldn't be even going with Travis Head as an opener. Full stop. I would probably invest in Marnus, maybe, because Smith's out, then you can have Marnus. But Travis Head, even then, I wouldn't have him in my side.
Do you really think Marnus Labuschagne's a short-term player, a short-term format player?
Look, he's probably more a test player for me. But I don't mind him if Smith is not there. I would rather have him than Heads. Let's put it this way.
I'd prefer to have who I would have picked to open the batting for Australia, in my opinion, Cameron Green, because he is a top order batsman.
Travis Head's out. He's reviewed the decision. I think the ball's pitched outside the leg, but he looked nervous. He was playing across the line.
I think Travis Head's given out.
Yeah, so he
absolute. He's going for a review, but doesn't look. His shot selection so far has been bloody ordinary.
Exactly.
Do they badger Andrew McDonald the dressing and go, I want to open, I want to open, I want to open? Is that what they do?
No, not so much. I think the decisions made by the Well, I think it's pitched in line. I don't know if the height is the question.
Oh, it's.
Going backwards, I think it'd be clipping.
I think
if
it's hitting. It's just a matter of
If
whether
it-
it's
even clipping, it would be
online.
even if it's clipping, it's the umpire's call. It's given out, so it would be out.
I think it's outside leg stump.
It's pitched, yeah. Whether it's pitched in line or whether it's missing leg stump, that'd be interesting. There's no bat involved, definitely. The ball's hit the pad first. It hit the knee roll. Interesting call.
I don't think it's too high.
No, whether it's pitched in line, it's pitched outside. So he's saved. So ball's pitched outside leg, so he's saved.
No, it's outside leg stump.
Yeah. So that's what I said. Pitched outside leg, he's saved.
It was well outside leg stump, to be honest.
But interesting choice of shot. Again, he was playing around his front pad, trying to whip it to mid-wicket square leg, whereas he should have gone straight down the
I reckon Alim Dar probably thought, what the hell's Travis Head batting? Let's get him out.
Might as well give him out.
I know, if I was umpiring, I'd be going, you don't deserve to be there. Get out of here.
Yeah. And he hits the four.
I would be a horrible umpire.
Yeah, no, you would be. You'd be going.
But Paul Newman's right. He won't last long.
No,
He
well,
won't last long.
he'll hit the next ball for four. Just a bit of width, and that's where he loves.
He's just playing a cracking. He's just playing a cracking cover shot. But
and he
yeah,
loves.
we know he can hit fours, but he's just not.
He's not your solution. Let's just say. So
Travis Head doesn't bat the batting for South Australia, does he?
He does. He opens the batting
In short format.
Yes, yeah, he does. Both one day and 2020 as well.
Yeah, but okay, that may well be the case. But he's not our leading one day opening batsman to be selected for Australia.
You wouldn't pick him. No, you wouldn't pick him as a leading. I would still go on with Uzi as a choice, and you would give McDermott a longer run. But interesting game started. Balanced. Let's see how Australia take the attack. But I think we've agreed on.
Have a look at that side, would you? I can't even fathom that as an Australian side.
No,
I'm sorry.
Australia A side maybe, but no.
Well, Australia A, the bowling lineup. I'm sorry, that's not an Australia A batting bowling lineup.
No.
Zampa's the only one of any true level of experience to be in that bowling lineup.
Yeah,
one bowler.
Interesting. All right, interesting, Norman. I think the game's going to be very interesting to watch. Score's going to be interesting where Pakistan can chase 300. I think Australia will be close to that 300 mark. I think 300 is a benchmark. You can't be thinking 260, 280. That'd be below par. I think the pitch looks nice and dry. Ball's coming onto the bat. It hasn't swung as much, apart from Hassan Ali swinging a couple of deliveries. It hasn't done much. The ball's coming onto the bat nicely. I don't see Australia not.
Hassan Ali's lost his mojo, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's true.
Something's not right about him. He's lackluster when he plays. He's not steaming in. He's not, because he was told that he runs in too fast.
Exactly. They're just showing Shane Shah doing some sprints before the game. I don't think he's injured. He's just done his workload for the day, and he's just chilling out, watching the game with Saklan and Mushtaq. And Travis Head has just cracked cover drive. Fantastic shot. I think he just loves that width, and Pakistani bowlers are providing him with that width where he can free his arms, and next thing you know, he might be 100 and prove both of us wrong. So that's what.
Yeah. Look, even if Travis Head blasts away a score, it doesn't make him worthy of being in that position. He hasn't deserved his.
And on this pitch, why wouldn't you get your youngster an experience? Why wouldn't you get Benny McDermott out there gaining that experience because he's your long-term investment? Why wouldn't you do that? Why would you just protect him and bat in the middle order and let him go out, play freely, gain the experience, because he's your long-term investment, not Travis Head. So again, I'm just mind-boggled.
Well, he can't start thinking he's going to be a permanent part of the team because he's.
I hope not.
I honestly didn't even know he was selected in the squad.
Fair enough.
I did not even. When I saw his name, I go, oh, they must have kept him back because of the Test series, like they done with Cam, because Cameron Green wasn't a part of the squad.
That's right, yeah, and so was Shepson. He wasn't.
And was Labuschagne a part of the squad? Oh.
I don't think he was. I think he was drafted in after Smith's injured.
Actually, I'm pretty sure Labuschagne would not be picked in a top 11 for ODI side. You put Smith, Warner, Maxwell, Mitchell Marsh. Labuschagne's out.
Yeah, true.
So is Head. They both wouldn't be seen in the squad.
Both for me.
This is a bit like Australia. This is Australia A or Australia B side playing. I'm sorry.
And yet another cover drive to please you, Norman. He scored another boundary. He's just hitting. He's just playing against the bowling machine. They're just feeding him.
Oh, well, okay, all right.
So it's not good. They're just stepping into the ball because they're offering him width, and he's just driving them nicely. I mean, you can't expect someone who's at international level and you can't feed him cover drives and he just hits you for boundaries.
The chances of his arm, if it goes his way, it looks good. That's what Munchie's saying. Munchie's saying that very point. Head century was England in the Ashes was hardly a masterclass. It was streaky. It was. It is true. The next guy here, I love the name, Subway Group of Learning, but he works for Subway. Okay.
Interesting name.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Paul Newman, he might surprise us all. He might flash a 30 or 40, but it doesn't make him a long-term proposition.
No. Even if he scores 100 on this flat pitch, it doesn't.
Because he knows he's got nothing to lose, because he won't be selected beyond this. When they bring everybody back, when they bring the cavalcade, Marsh, Maxwell, Smith, Warner, there's 4 out. He's gone. Never to be seen again. Labuschagne's the same.
No. I think the way that Head's approaching the innings is the right way for him because he knows he's got nothing to lose. He might as well play shots. And the benefit that he's getting, that bowlers are giving him that width, which he loves, and he's been driving them really well. They haven't bowled tight in his pads because that's where he will get out. You got to bowl tight to both Smith not Smith, Finch and Heads. Ball coming into them rather than going away, and that's where they'll hurt you, and that's where Heads have scored his 3 boundaries. So you got to be smart in your planning. You got to be smart in your approach of.
I wish Aaron Finch would stop chewing gum. Anyway, but Munchie's got a great idea here. Munchie said we actually will be sponsored. I'll be Munchie by Guinness. I'll be Norman by Cadbury's. Moses, what will you be?
Fair enough. I don't know.
What's your favourite thing? Moses by Coke?
Coke, yeah, could be.
Okay, that's Munchie. That's our new names. Munchie by Guinness. My name is Norman by Cadbury. Moses by Coke. Paul Newman by Hollywood.
Hollywood. That's nice. Score is motoring along nicely. 26 in 3 overs, 3.1 overs. I think that run rate is flying.
Yeah.
And that's why
bring Harris Ralph on.
He'll
go right through him.
You got to have different pace, and plus you got to have the bowler take the pace off. I would be really going a few more overs and then start to think about bringing spinners. And yet, my point is, we had not picked a spinner or frontline spinner in Usman in the team who could have been very handy on this dry pitch. As you saw there, show the pitch just a minute ago. It's really dry. It's crackly on the top. So a spinner would have been very handy.
So Munchie's right. It looks like a flat. It does look like a flat deck.
It's a dry deck, Munchie. 38 degrees. What do you expect in Lahore? It's already got cracks on it when they showed that close drone vision. It's a nice wicket to bat on. I'm sure you would love to bat on this.
I mean, look, I'd like to let Harris Ralph go. Let him loose with 150 clicks. It'll be a different story. I'll tell you now.
You got to get him in early. The new ball hasn't swung. We've seen both new balls haven't swung. First over, Hassan Ali did a little bit with the ball, but then after that, it hasn't done anything. So I would be making short changes. It's a hot day, so it's not a bad idea from Wasim to come around the wicket and try and tuck.
Okay, Himanshu Rahela, you're jumping the gun too much, pal. Travis Head is looking really good. Opener, no one retires soon. Travis Head's not going to replace there's no way there's about 4 other batsmen will go first, including Ben McDermott.
Exactly, and Renshaw's on plane as well, so he's joining the team sometime tonight.
Munchie's right. Wasn't 20 that he's up. He looks about 30 to me. He doesn't look 20 at all.
Mate, the area that he comes from is the mountains area. They don't have birth certificates, so they just remember it from the occasions when some of the occasion happened. That's when he was born. So I'm pretty sure you've got a merit in your comment.
But he can bat as well. He
can bat. He can bat. That's what I was saying. They've gone very heavy batting lineup, expecting a score to be 320 plus to be able to chase it, and that's what the thinking behind stacking up the batting. But you can't just stack up the batting and not have frontline bowls to keep the opposition down. So let's see. They talk big about this guy. They talk quite highly about him. I spoke to a few guys yesterday, and they were all praised for him. He's had a good Pakistan Cup, which is just concluded. That's the one-day cup that they play to what we play here in Australia, the state teams. He's had a reasonable one-day cup in Pakistan as well. He's had a reasonable 2020 PSL as well. So I don't mind seeing him how he performs at a big stage, especially against the Australian team. And let's see how that goes. I just got a message from one of my friend. He's watching the audience, the discussion. He's talking about Shane Warne's memorial being tomorrow, and he's asking me if I was going. So unfortunately, I'm unable to go. They are doing it in live streaming in SCG, and they will be televising. So I'll be watching the memorial on TV, and they're doing it on MCG as a live as well. So there's a lot of viewingship opportunities, but yeah, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to join either SCG or MCG.
Well, I've got 6 tickets to go to the Melbourne MCG. I'm just working out whether I'm going to fly down tomorrow because I think it's a pretty big deal. I mean, I've just watched a video from Channel 7 they had on. It blew me away. They talked to a lot of people for that hour, and I was very emotional watching it. He was something special. He really was. I don't think we really understand how many young people took up leg spin bowling in the backyard. Everybody seemed to be. It's just affected so many, that whole generation. People like Aaron Finch and Glenn Maxwell, Dave Warner. They all bowled leg spin in the backyard. They all wanted to be Shane Warne. Michael Clark, even the likes of people like Ian Healy and Mark. Who's the what's the openers? What's that former Australian captain? Mark. Forgot his name. Tubby Taylor. Mark Taylor. They are truly affected. They realised they were standing as keepers, first slips. Even Mark Warburn. They were all great catches, to be honest. But they were in awe. They knew they had a bloke that at any 5th day he would win a test match, and he won so many.
Yeah, absolutely, and everyone that's spoken on camera, they've been very emotional. They've been touched. The whole entire nation has been touched, and I think it'll be quite emotional memorial service tomorrow. It is tomorrow late in the day, I think. But I think
starts at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. I think everyone will be keenly watching that. If they can't make it to the grounds, I think that's one emotional day tomorrow for Australian cricket. And Shane Warne's lover. So I think that's we'll probably have a conversation about it, how the ceremony was. I think it will be a grand ceremony, but we'll have a conversation about it next time we catch up. But Trevor's head is going hard. He's just milking those half volleys, hitting through the line, and he's loving the pitch.
Well, it's making him look good. It's making him look good artificially. Exactly. He's just having a good old crack. He's having a big whack.
They haven't tested him. They haven't bowled the short delivery. They've kept feeding him outside off stump, whether short where he cuts or full where he drives well. So both of his shots, he drives really well. We all know here in Australia.
Why haven't they got someone back there to catch some of these? Because it's obvious where he's hitting them.
Over, so you can only have 2 men out. but they haven't bowled to their field. They have not bowled to the plan. They've fed him, bowled too short and too wide where he's cutting, or bowled too full and too wide where he's driving. So they haven't bring the ball back, attacked his front pad, and they've been poor in their execution. So
Hassan Ali's just horribly out of form. Munshi said it's I should give him a knighted posthumously. They should, when the top 5 cricketers of the previous century, Wisden's top 5, all of them are sirs, there's something a bit out of place, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's someone's started a page as well, and they're looking for petition and trying to pursue politicians and whatnot here to allow the knighthood for Shane Warne as well. So look, I have no question. I have got no reservation that he should be knighted. He's been not just a legend in Australian cricket, in cricket worldwide, and let alone the whole world. He was Hollywood for us. He was a Hollywood.
Look, guys, I will try to be somewhere live, and I'll try and get the atmosphere, the feeling of being there, because I'm going to try and interview people that are at the grounds, whether it's SCG or MCG, have a bit of a chat to them and get their perspective. It's an immense moment. Hopefully the weather's good. That's the main thing.
Yeah, true.
I'd hate to be raining because it'll spoil it quite severely. But it's a great idea. State funeral, well done, indeed.
Yeah. No, that's
right.
right.
Moses, if you want to go, you can, but please.
Yeah, I'll just talk about this over, and then I'll push off. Haris Rauf is in.
No, you can stay as long as you want.
I've got to go. I've got to get some dinner as well. So Haris is now in attack after 5 overs to 39, with Travis had 32 off 23 deliveries. And out of the 32, he's hit 6 fours, which, he's been fed, 7 fours, which he's been fed quite easily and nicely to be able to score runs. So interesting to see how Harry goes.
Let's see, Harris. What do you reckon, a wicket?
I like to see him get a wicket. First ball is down the leg stump wide, 140 clicks. So I like him to rev up the pace, because on these dead pitches, pace.
What was the pace that delivery?
140.
140.
Yeah.
He's already above everybody else.
That's right. So it'd be interesting to see how he bowls. I want him to attack the stumps rather than going width, because that's what the other two haven't done. They've given them width, and you got to attack the stumps in this kind of conditions. You got to attack the pads and let them take a chance. So Finch is sitting pretty. He just hasn't faced enough deliveries, whereas Head's 23 balls, 32 runs. He's the one looks like taking the attack, but again, we've said that he's been fed nicely. He's like facing bowling machine.
Just want to see the pace of that delivery. They're not showing. I thought they would have shown that.
141, that last one.
The last one, first was 140, second was 141.
Yeah. So
I'm going to go to Melbourne tomorrow. I've made my decision because it's an hour flight. It's an event that's very it's unique in our lifetimes. And there'll be a lot of people there of great interest. It'll be well received. They're expecting at least 50,000. So,
and there'll be few thousand in Sydney as well. There'll be quite a good crowd. I think it's raining in Sydney. Weather's wet. Is it, Norman? It's been raining here all day in Brisbane. I don't know how's it in Sydney. I think we experienced another run of wet weather here in Brisbane and Sydney.
Yeah. Oh, it's just terrible. I watched this. It really was. The Channel 7 put together the story. It was just interviewed all sorts of people, not just cricketing people, just other people of note.
Yeah.
So Pauline was saying it's raining in Sydney tomorrow. What about Melbourne? Is it raining in Melbourne?
I think it's forecast. Forecast rain. Yeah. Brisbane's wet. Brisbane's been wet for the last couple of days. A lot of rain.
The whole East Coast, I think.
Yeah, whole East Coast. So that's the first bouncer we've seen. After 5.5 overs, we've seen the first bouncer, and that was 141.
Well, he's only gone for 3 off, virtually 3 balls.
Yeah, so
that was a brute of a delivery.
That's right, and that's what I was saying earlier on. No one has tested these guys. They've just.
That was only 140. Though. It looked faster than 140.
It came off quicker than Finch was expecting. And that's what I was talking about earlier. None of the bowlers earlier on has actually tested them. You know, they bowled wide off the off stump where he loved it and scored runs. So let's see if he can follow up with a good.
He gave a little wink to Aaron Finch. He's
Yeah.
just given a little. Harris Ralph gave a little wink to him.
Yeah, exactly. The follow-up delivery was good. Hit him in the pad. Whether they'll go upstairs or not.
Oh, that was a good ball.
Yeah.
Harris Ralph is bowling sensationally well.
And that's
completely.
Yeah. A really good ball coming into him.
He's a star. He should have been playing the Test match. His extra pace could have made a lot of difference, even on those slowish wickets.
Exactly right. 100%.
Look what Cummins and Stark did.
And that's what he could have done. And I think
he could have done that. And I mean, Shaheen bowled really well, yes, but I think they needed that bit of pace.
They needed that extra pace.
Look at him. The way Aaron Finch is very hurried.
And Naseem did it.
Here we go. He's bowling Travis Head. Here we go.
4 runs first ball.
No, he's just hitting for 4. he's just playing through the line. It's just.
No, and I think we'll catch up tomorrow, and we'll say that he scored 100. You know, we still would be saying that he's still not the first choice because
Travis Head is not the next big thing in Australian cricket. We know that.
No.
Where was this form during the Test cricket? Where was this form?
No,
where was this? It wasn't there.
He's playing without consequences. He knows that he's not first choice. He's got nothing to lose, so might as well throw his bat around. So it's disappointing. All right, Norman. Good catching up.
Thanks, Moses. Thanks again. See you in 2 days' time with the next, if not tomorrow, there's something on. All right.
Let us know how post your video from the funeral if you end up going to Melbourne. It'd be interesting to see some insight from the ground.
No worries.
All right,
Thank you.
Thanks,
guys. Again, brilliant having most of them. Incredible strategies. Travis Head is a free man in this game. Here he is. It's a bit of a license to kill. He's probably been told, go out there and plunder like a Warner would have done. And it's fair enough, but I'll tell you what. Yeah, umpire's call, but Harris Ralph he's bowling sensationally. So Australia wins the 5th World Cup in 2015. Australia's a pretty damn good side, let's be honest, worldwide. But this is not their best side. This is a very understrength Australian side, and Pakistan should win this and win this well. All right, everyone. We might leave it at that. We'll keep watching the match. Heads on 36, Finch on 5, Australia run for 47 after 6. They're going along at a rampant rate. Yes, they are. You need to ask me questions if you want me to continue because we've gone an hour and a half now. It's been a great session. It's been a great session. A lot of value in these discussions. Has been fantastic. We've dissected the Australian side well and truly, haven't we? We've certainly given it a nice old G up in terms of, and it's deservedly so because this side is, clearly hasn't deserved its stage. Travis Head's gone there and played a pretty ruthless little game, but I don't know whether it's necessarily, indicative of how he's playing at all. I will definitely be asleep. You coming back at 4 a.m. Norman after the match? We'll see I'll see what happens. I might. I don't know, Paul. Probably not. The IPL's on in between as well, don't forget. We've had about 7,000 people viewing this particular thing now, Paul, so probably not. But it's been one hell of a ride, guys, and I very much appreciate you coming. Make sure you view, like, and share. You subscribe because we'll be seeing a lot more of this. Like 2 more ODIs after this to go. We've got a T20, and it's going to be action-packed, guys, and I hope to see a lot of great stuff in these matches. It's worthy of all the attention we've been giving it. And yeah, it's a fabulous series. So far, it's been really, really good. There's been a lot of good things that have gone on. That's not the way to White play 2 spinners. I agree. Travis tends to make his test cricket. He's not going to make it in test cricket, I don't think so. He's going to do something strange selections. I agree. While Agar's got if you don't know why you're asking, Ashes Nagar is actually got COVID-19. So is Josh Inglis. Even one of the physios has got it as well. So there's quite a few that have come down with it, I'm afraid, which is rather frustrating to say the least. Indeed. There's a great interview with Meg Lanning that I put on there too. It's great. All the best in Melbourne tomorrow if you go. Thanks, Paul. We'll see each other for sure on Thursday for the match between these two teams again. But I may well do a live tomorrow. We'll just wait and see how it goes. I think I should go. I think I really should go. It's too important an event not to be there for. I'm going to have to leave work. A little bit early for that. So, any other comments, guys? This is Harris Rav looks the goods. If he gets a bit of luck his way, we could see there's some pretty serious damage to this bowling. Hang on, everybody. Let's just have a bit of a. Just won't be back in 2 seconds, guys. Just it's back guys. So as far as I'm concerned, Australia, Rain plays about 60 runs here and heads on 48. He's should quite. Finch has been there for 6 off 13 balls. So Travis said it's certainly gone ballistic. That was 143 Ks that delivery just in from Harris Rowe. Harris is certainly Harris Rowe's gone for 9 for 7. He's gone not for many. So heads on 48 off 29. Finch 6 off 14. So none for 60 into the 8th over. Quite incredible. I would not have expected this, guys. So please stay tuned. This is very interesting. You need to ask me questions and I'll answer them. A lot to be said about this Australian line also. Any other questions, guys? Otherwise, I will call off. We can always talk tomorrow. Well, don't forget, Shane Warne's no Yorkers. Yeah, that's true, Munchie. The short ball's been affected. The Harris Rowe's short ball's been good. Australia playing West Indies tomorrow as well. That's in the women's cricket. Yes, that's certainly another big one, as well as the South Africa versus England game. I'm expecting England to come back quite strongly there. Don't forget, they won the World Cup last time round. They've snuck back into the top 4. They're back into the semi-final race. At a slow start, they're more likely going to beat South Africa, and it probably will be Australia England in the final, which is quite dangerous for Australia. Let's have a look here. What's the story here? Travis said it's 49 or 30 balls. He has done exceptionally well, I'll be honest. Has he gone to 50? So Travis heads. Tough old team owner. I like these team owners. Are very nice. England versus South Africa on Thursday. Correct, Munchie. I think England will win that. And I think Australia will beat West Indies. It'll be Australia-England final. I think South Africa, although they played very well, England will do them in a semi-final. You watch. All right, guys. Munchie, we'll have to say goodbye to you. Unless you want to come on air, then otherwise I'm gonna call it quits here with Australia none for 65 to 7 almost 8 overs. Harris Ralph has looked pretty strong. See you later, Paul. Munchie, say yes or no if you're coming on. Otherwise, I'll have to call it quits. I don't want to call it quits. I'm enjoying this knowing, to be honest with you. It's been a great evening of entertainment here. It always is. Australia, Pakistan, it's certainly full of life. Can't make it, so you crash. I will crash. Can't make it. Okay. All right, guys. We might leave it at that with Australia none for 64. Travis Head about to hit 50. Impressively so. Off 30 balls and Finch 9 off 18. It's a pretty good start from Australia, let's be honest. Very, very good start. I'll watch one more. I'll wait and see if Travis Head gets his 50, then I'll cut off. All right? Even though I bagged the hell out of him, he's done well. Maybe he's been listening to my verbals about him. Taking a long time. What's the delay here? After 8 hours, it couldn't be a drinks break. TikTok presents KFC. TikTok presents KFC Pakistan. It's interesting. Pakistan got an incredibly strong batting lineup, though. Let's not forget that. In fact, Zaman is quite brilliant. This young bloke doesn't look that young, does he? Nine fours and a 6. He's got himself his 50. I guess it's a bit of a round of applause needed there. But he's not a permanent part of the side. Let's not get carried away here. All right, guys. If you like and share the post, subscribe. We'll see you hopefully tomorrow for Shane Warne's memorial, the actual state service for him. Australia will play West Indies in the women's cricket. There'll be some IPL action at 9 at night, and then the day after there'll be another Australia-Pakistan match, okay? So we have plenty on, plenty on. And we'll just leave it at that. All right, so take care, guys. View, like, and share the post and subscribe. As soon as you can, you'll help me out by doing such things as that. It's a great thing to be able to have that following and people to not only just to put their money where their mouth is, but I don't want money. I want them just to be subscribers. That's what I'm looking for. And that's the key to the success of this channel, is to get people to subscribe. It's as simple as that. As simple as that. We've got quite a crescendo going on here. We've had, great numbers and the whole time. And it's been really, really good. So I can really thank you for all this, guys. Safe flight, no one. Thanks, Bunchy. Travis Head can be a really good option to open innings with Royal Ties. No, it won't happen. There'll be plenty of blokes going on in front of him. I get your point here, Mansur Rahela. I get your point, but I don't think it's going to happen. All right, guys, we might call it quits there. It's getting a little bit late, 9:45 here in Australia. Got a bit to do, so Travis Head can be okay. All right. Any last question? I'll take one more last question, and then we'll go from there. One more question to finish with, and we'll finish there, guys. It's great having Motion Shake. He's magnificent. Trophy looks bloody big, that's for sure. Very big trophy. All right, we're getting no more questions, so I'll say goodbye to you guys. Talk to you soon.